So on the next part of the wall assembly, we're going to install these furring strips. And the furring strips won't make sense as they're going up, but they will make sense when we do the next layer on this. And a furring strip basically is any piece of wood or anything you apply to a wall to bring it out to another level. Pretty vague, but it'll make sense.
It makes it a little bit thicker, and you'll see why in a minute.
Okay.
So remember, this is our window opening, and what we've done is to make the wall a little bit thicker all the way around the window opening.
All right, so we're ready for our next part of the wall assembly, which would be rigid foam. This rigid foam represents kind of a new paradigm in wall construction in that it offers a continuous insulation around the building with no thermal break in it. Typically, a wall has lots of thermal breaks in it in terms of outlets, wires, plumbing pipes, and all of those breaks decrease the R value of the wall. When you put up a sheet of rigid insulation, you have 100% skin of insulation that's unbroken. So that's what this represents. In the case of this sheet, we're using polyisocyanurate with a foil on both sides, and it has the highest R value per inch of any insulation that we know of. 1 inch of polyisocyanurate with foil has, I think it's an R6, depends on who you're talking to. Typically, this stuff is it's made by Dow, I believe it is, Owens Corning, and it has about an R5 for 1 inch. It's about half the price. This has more breathability, more permeability. This is more of a moisture stopper and a higher R value. So in the case of this wall, I'm demonstrating with the polyisocyanurate, but you could use this this other polystyrene, extruded styrene. Here we go to polyisocyanurate, or rigid foam as it's commonly called. And so this is, pretend again this is laid around the entire building. Every window and door opening is furred out to catch up to the depth of the foam.
So now you see why we had these furring strips, because they're the same thickness as this rigid foam, and that makes a smooth surface, which allows us to go on to our next step.
Is this tight?
Yep.
Okay. There's a wall. Pretty cool. All right.
And of course, when we're putting the rigid foam up here, we make sure and seal really good around the window opening so that there's no leaks going in there.
Right.
And now we're ready for the window.
We could actually demonstrate that sealing. Once again, you have to pretend this would be a sticky foil back. There's all kinds of sealants in tape form you can use around windows and doors or sills. This is masking tape, but it would represent one of those sealants. So we could just lay that along this. We'll do it. We just lay it along here. Such. So this is air sealing and water sealing for the future. Laid across the bottom too. When another sheet of foam comes up to this one to meet it, you want to tape both sheets together. That's part of the air sealing for the foam. And actually, you could, to get really over the top when you're doing the OSB on the outside, when those sheets come together, you could tape all of those seams as well. Even though you're sealing behind the OSB, you can seal on the front of the OSB. When the foam comes together, you want to tape those joints as well. Cutest window you'll ever see. Okay. Again, this tape signifies a water sealing around the window for leakage, for water leakage. Okay, I just want you to keep in mind for water sealing around a window is that different builders and contractors have different ways and protocol for how they seal around the window. What we're doing here does not represent all of the different ways to seal around the window. So an individual would do it in their own way. But also keep in mind that water sealing and air sealing go hand in hand. So it's up to you how you seal around the window. But keep in mind that air sealing is definitely always a part of this.